Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. The security forces have neutralised 9 Tehreek-e-Taliban terrorists in 2 intelligence-based operations in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. According to the ISPR, 4 Indian-sponsored militants were neutralised in Dera Ismail Khan and 5 in Bannu during separate firefights. Weapons were recovered, while sanitisation operations are continuing. The operations come amid a surge in militant attacks and growing concerns over cross-border terrorism linked to Afghan soil. Chief of Defence Forces, Field Marshal Asim Munir, says most TTP fighters infiltrating into Pakistan are Afghan nationals. Addressing an Ulema conference, he said nearly 70% of TTP formations are made up of Afghans, as he questioned Kabul's denial of militant sanctuaries. The Field Marshal rejected extremist narratives and stressed that jihad can only be declared by the state. He also reaffirmed Pakistan's resolve to defend its people and sovereignty. US President Donald Trump is preparing for a more aggressive immigration crackdown in 2026, with billions in new funding, including by raiding more workplaces, even as backlash builds ahead of next year's midterm elections. Trump has already surged immigration agents into major US cities, where they swept through neighborhoods and clashed with residents. While federal agents this year conducted some high-profile raids on businesses, they largely avoided raiding farms, factories, and other businesses that are economically important but known to employ immigrants without legal status. Israel's Security Cabinet has approved the recognition of 19 new settlements in the occupied West Bank, pushing ahead with its settlement expansion policy. Far-right Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said the move was aimed at preventing the creation of a Palestinian state. The decision has drawn condemnation from Saudi Arabia and the United Nations, which says settlement expansion threatens the viability of a two-state solution and fuels rising violence in the territory. Russian President Vladimir Putin has hosted a summit of the Supreme Eurasian Economic Council in St. Petersburg. Leaders from Belarus, Armenia, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan attended the meeting, along with the head of the Eurasian Economic Commission. The talks focused on cooperation within the Russian-led Eurasian Economic Union, where Moscow remains the dominant economic power. Russian President Vladimir Putin's top foreign policy aide has said that changes made by the Europeans and Ukraine to US proposals for an end to the war in Ukraine did not improve prospects for peace. The US drafted proposals for an end to the nearly 4-year-old war, leaked to the media last month, raised European and Ukrainian concerns that they were tilted too far in Russia's favor. Kremlin foreign policy aide Yuri Ushakov told reporters in Moscow that the European and Ukrainian changes would not improve the chances of peace. France has decided to build a new aircraft carrier to strengthen its role as a major maritime power. President Emmanuel Macron announced the decision while addressing French troops at a military base in Abu Dhabi. Macron said the programme was approved this week and would significantly boost France's naval capabilities. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has ordered a review of police and intelligence services following a deadly shooting on Sydney's Bondi beach that left 15 people dead. Albanese said the government would examine whether security agencies have the powers, structures and information sharing arrangements needed to keep Australians safe. The incident occurred on December 14th during a Hanukkah celebration. One alleged gunman was killed by police at the scene, while his son remains under police guard in hospital and faces multiple charges, including terrorism and murder. A large power outage struck San Francisco on Saturday, leaving about 125,000 residents without electricity, according to city emergency officials and utility provider Pacific Gas and Electric Company. The The San Francisco Department of Emergency Management warned residents to call 911 only for life-threatening emergencies, avoid non-essential travel, and treat non-functioning traffic signals as four-way stops. Officials also advised keeping refrigerator and freezer doors closed and turning off major appliances to prevent power surges. The blackout caused traffic congestion across parts of the city and forced some businesses to temporarily shut down. At least 11 people have been killed and several others wounded after armed men opened fire at a licensed tavern in the Beckersdale township near Johannesburg. The attack occurred just before 1 a.m. local time, when about 12 suspects arrived in vehicles and shot at patrons before fleeing the scene. Police have launched a manhunt for those responsible. The United States has intercepted an oil tanker in international waters off the coast of Venezuela, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem confirmed, days after President Donald Trump announced a blockade on all sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving the country. It marks the second such interception in recent weeks, as the US ramps up military presence in the region. Noem said the tanker had last docked in Venezuela, stressing that Washington would continue targeting illicit oil shipments used to fund narco-terrorism. Mitchell Starc claimed 3 wickets as Australia wrap up an 82-run victory on Day 5 of the third Ashes Test at Adelaide Oval, securing an unassailable 3-0 lead in the series. Chasing a world record 435, England fought into the second session, but were bowled out for 352, with Scott Boland taking the final wicket. The loss marks England's 4th straight Ashes defeat in Australia after just 3 tests, extending their poor run to 16 losses in their last 18 matches down under. Pakistan have crushed arch-rivals India by 191 runs to win the Under-19 Asia Cup final in dominant fashion. Opener Samir Minhas smashed a record 172, powering Pakistan to 347. India collapsed for just 156 as Ali Raza led a ruthless bowling attack. The win sealed Pakistan's biggest ever margin of victory in an Under-19 Asia Cup final. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.